You've been putting in the energy, but you're not getting the results you want. You're unsure how to elevate your training to the next level to finally break that plateau. So come along with me, and I'm going to take you through how I've helped hundreds, thousands of guys and girls at this point progress their physique beyond where they thought they ever could. I'm going to break it down so it's super easy, top to bottom. And then when you're done watching this video, go down below and download one of these training splits and let me know how you like them. We're all wanting the best bang for our buck when we're talking about training. Duh. But why do training specifics matter way more than you actually ever thought? It's really this simple. We're wanting to give the body a progressive, consistent, and repeatable stimulus to signal phase-specific results to demand specific changes within our physique. Let's go through the progressive element together. When you break down growing muscle, it's really as simple as increasing the total overall volume of stimulus for the whole week within a range that you can recover from. So let's break down some of that terminology so that we're on the same page. The total overall volume, all it is, the sum for the whole week of all the mechanical tension that you've created in your workouts combined. And the reason why I say mechanical tension over just weight is we all know there's ways that you can make weight much harder by activating certain cues, using certain exercises and certain techniques to make lighter weights feel heavier, but you're still going to create that same tension. That's what we're looking for. So let me give you an example. Say you're doing 3 sets of 10 with 100-pound dumbbells. That one exercise, that's a 3,000-pound signal. So let's increase and say we do another rep. Now, with those same 100-pound dumbbells, we do them for 11 reps. We have 3,300 pounds of signal. Those are going to create different responses in the body. Here's another example. Say we stay at that same 10 reps, but we increase to the 120-pound dumbbells. Now, those 3 sets, we're getting a 3,600-pound signal. If we go to 8 reps with the 130s, we only get a 3,120-pound signal. So sometimes going heavy isn't always going to create the most stimulus. I find overall progressing the load when you get to the top end of a rep range by 5% is that sweet spot, that you're not going to be making these crazy jumps where you're actually dropping your overall load for the week. Let's talk about phase-specific goals. The difference between bulking or cutting, or as I like to say, a fat loss phase or a muscle gaining phase. So what are the key differences? Growth versus retention. In a muscle gaining phase, we're looking to progressively get more stimulus. And that stimulus can be created through higher load, so heavier weight, doing more reps or more sets, volume for the week, better mind-muscle connection, or simply better execution, how you're performing the reps. You're telling the body that that overall volume is increasing and it's going to demand more tissue to keep up. Let's talk about a fat loss phase. We're wanting to keep that signal consistent. Your mom doing toning reps is throwing a random signal in there that's not going to make the changes. We're wanting to create that similar signal to tell the body to retain muscle. If that stimulus drops, that body is being told we actually don't need as much tissue to hold that overall volume, and you're going to shrink. Let's talk about the consistency piece. The reason why we want to be consistent with what we're doing in the gym is so that we can have that signal reinforced. If you change your workouts, you change that signal. If you change your exercise order on plan, you change that signal. If you change how you do your warm-up sets, you change that signal. When that signal to the body changes, so does the adaptation from the body. And this could either be way too much, causing you not to recover, or not enough to tell the body to keep making progress. Here's why we want things to be repeatable. This is why I hate when guys jump around gyms or you're switching out exercises way too frequently. This is actually going to slow down your progress. With every new exercise, there's going to be a learning curve. You have to figure out, how does that weight translate to tension? That cable stack at the gym that you were using last week with 50 pounds, it's probably not going to feel the exact same as the one at the next gym. We want to use the same exercises for as long as we can, so we don't have to keep relearning how to use that equipment. Every now and then, you're going to do something that's called a form rinse, where you're going to drop your weight way back 80% to where you're at right now, and you're gonna set a new standard of execution, meaning you're gonna go back and you're gonna fix the form. Make sure it's perfect. Now let's talk about periodizing your training, breaking it off into chunks. If we could keep adding 5% onto the bar forever, we'd all be benching 1,000 pounds. That's simply just not how the body works. There's a limit to how much the joints, the connective tissue, and overall the body can handle. And we want to find that sweet spot so that we don't have to keep taking deload weeks too frequently, but we're also not going so long and pushing these blocks out that you're getting injuries. Recovery, PEDs, food, outsized stressors in life are all going to affect how your body recovers from this training block. Some people are able to recover from increased intensity every week. Others are going to have to find that sweet spot and they're going to have to hold it for durations of time. The way that I program most intermediate lifters is that every 2 weeks, we're going to be increasing the intensity of the exercise. That way, we're able to get more stimulus block to block, versus advanced lifters being able to ensure that stimulus is increasing without having a direct effect on increasing intensity. This can be done by getting better at the movement, connecting better to the movement, picking appropriate movements, playing with tempo, cueing of exercises. The more advanced that you get, the slower that the progress is actually going to be. When you first started lifting, every time you went in the gym, you could throw another 5 pounds on the bar. When you've been training for 10 years and you're using 150-pound dumbbells, for you to go up to the 155s, that's a good jump. Let's go over some terminology together, because this can alienate people and put people in separate groups and cults. We don't want that. Let's make it super simple. Let's talk about reps in reserve. Whoa, hear me out. Reps in reserve is just a super simple way for me as the trainer and you as the client to be able to understand each other and be on the same page when we're talking about intensity. It's a way for me to be able to say, this is how close I want you going to your max. And most people truly don't understand what their max zero RIR would be. So let's break this down really quickly. What is a zero RIR set? 0 reps in reserve. What does this mean? You have 0 left in the tank before failure. But here's the key. What is failure? You have 2 different forms of failure. Technical failure, which means that the technique of the exercise is actually broke down. Your form is done. And then you also have mechanical failure, meaning that the muscle is no longer firing. So now that we've cleared that up, a 0 RIR is meaning either you have 0 left in the tank, that is the last possible gun to your head rep that you can get before the muscle fails, or the technique fails. Let's talk about intensity techniques quickly. When we first get into the gym, we all want to go in and hammer ourselves with shit tons of drop sets and rest pause sets and giant sets. And this can be a lot of fun, but you're going to get to a point where eventually the impact of this can be overwhelming on your overall volume for the week. Some people need to scratch that itch and train balls to the walls doing drop sets, but you need to understand that if that's what you're going to do, you're creating a huge demand on the body and your volume might actually just be pulled down for the week. Let's talk about exercise classifications. I like to break things down into 2 simple buckets: compound work and isolation work. And these are based on the nervous system taxing, how hard they are on the body. Compound work is anything that's going to be multi-joint, meaning you're going to be using multiple joints to perform that exercise. Let's think about a squat. You have knees, ankles, and hips, multi-joint. This can be very strenuous on the nervous system because you're activating multiple muscle groups. So what's an isolation exercise? Anything that is single joint. Think about a bicep curl. What's moving? The elbow. We're moving 1, maybe 2 if you count the wrist a little bit. And we're only going to be hitting 1, maybe 2 muscle groups. It's not going to be as taxing on the body. So there it is. Jump into this training program, kick some ass. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm here to help.